right, Jody. So I think it would be kind of fun to let people get to know some of your favorite things, some of your hobbies. And so, first question: what's your favorite color?
My favorite color? Ooh, probably yellow, but really the combination, I love blue and I love yellow because the sky and sunshine. I love sunshine, I love light, and so yellow is just happy and bright. I don't necessarily wear a lot of yellow, but I love to see yellow because it represents sunshine and happiness and all good things. So I love the combination of blue and yellow. And if you look at my books, you'll actually see that on the cover of my book, I have a dark blue and a yellow, and it's that combination that I love. And my house is all in blue with yellow accents.
All right. How about what's your favorite hobby to do to like relax and like de-stress?
I love nature. I love the outdoors. And if I have an afternoon and I'm in a good place for it, I love water. And pre-tumor, I was a water girl. I was in the water all of the time and I love to swim. It's a little tricky now because I can't blink my eye very well and I can't pressurize. So I can't really get under the water very much, but I still love the water. And so if I have time to be around water, I will be around water. I love to kayak. And so I will kayak on a lake. Like if you put me out on a kayak, I could be out there all day long because not only do I love the activity itself, I also love that I'm in nature. And so I could just sit there not moving at all, but just with my camera observing or watching or even for a minute laying back and looking at the sky and appreciating the wonders of nature. So I will always be out in nature. I go for a lot of walks. I go for little hikes around where I live. We're in an area where I live in a mountain valley, so there's mountains all over the place and there's hikes all over the place. Because I do live in a mountain valley, but we're also in an area that's a little bit of a desert. I grew up in an area of northern Virginia that was full of woods and trees and green and water. So when I moved to Utah and got married, I told my husband, I gotta have my water and I gotta have my trees. So we planted, I think I have 9 trees in my yard now, and we built a little waterfall stream in my backyard. And so whenever I have time, I am digging in the dirt, I'm playing in my waterfall, I am making things just right so that when the water trickles down, that soothing, wonderful water falling sound just permeates the whole backyard.
So you can only choose one.
Oh no.
What is the nicest thing someone has ever told you?
Well, I think the thing that comes to mind, this probably isn't going to be maybe what you would expect, but I had someone come to me and tell me of a difficult family situation that they had experienced and a super heartbreaking experience they'd had, and that because they had read my book and experienced things from my perspective, that it changed the way that they were able to see their own life story. And that might not make a ton of sense without all of the details, but I had a reader who lost her mother to suicide, and she was a young girl when that happened, and it was incredibly devastating for her and for her family. And when she read my book, there was a part that talks about how difficult it is to be a survivor, to stay alive, because there are definitely times when you're battling something difficult where it would be easier to give up the fight, where it would be easier to check out of things. And it's harder to stay around, but you do it simply for the people around you. There are times where you literally stay alive for the people around you. And she came to me and said, until I read that perspective, I had never understood and never been able to forgive my mother for taking her life when I was young. And now I realize that it was just too much for her and she was in so much pain, it was easier to let go than it was to stick around. And that might not be what you would expect, but it gave me so much peace to know that by sharing my experiences, I could bring some enlightenment and some peace and joy to someone else's life. That really has stuck with me. That was years and years ago, but that has stuck with me. So that was probably one of my most impactful moments. And then there are several others, but they all revolve probably around something similar in the sense that I was able to do something that created an aha or a new revelation or a transformation in someone else's life.
Well, here's something, speaking on it, you said right before about what are the nicest ways to compliment me and things like that. What about, are you familiar with the book Love Languages?
Yes.
What is your love language?
Ooh. Okay, I'm a doer, so I like when people do nice things for me. If you want to show me that you care about me, and the kitchen's a mess, oh, if the kitchen gets clean and the dishwasher gets started and the floor gets swept, then it is amazing. I gave my husband a Roomba vacuum for Christmas because he's an engineer and he's a techie guy and he loves it and loved the idea of it, and he wanted to try one of these little robotic vacuums. And even though I gave it to him, when I get up in the morning and I go out into my living room and kitchen, and he has taken all of the chairs and put them on top of the table or put them on top of the counter and moved everything off of the floor so that our little Roomba can go out and vacuum. Oh man, I just think that is so great. Maybe he's doing it for the purpose of cleaning the house, but to me, it feels like he was doing something to show that he cared about me, because I'm a doer. I like to get things done. I like to see things in action and things making progress. And we named our Roomba Steve. I don't know why, but we named our Roomba Steve. And then we have a mopping Roomba, and we named her Shirley. So we have Steve and Shirley. And when I get up in the morning and Steve and Shirley are hard at work, it makes me just want to go throw my arms around my husband and say, thank you so much, because it shows me that he took the time to think about it and not just leave it for me or expect that I would do it. Does that make any sense at all?
So what about favorite music that really kind of gets you in a great mood? What's your go-to music?
My go-to music. Okay, so I guess I have two different things. Number one, I still love pop music from the 80s. If I need to have a lift, if it's dark, cold winter day and I need to get myself in a positive place, I will flip on an 80s or 90s channel and I will put on dance music. Things that I know every word to every song and I could lip sync or karaoke it and probably do the dance moves to go along with it. That is the kind of music that will lift me every time. And if I need something that's a little bit deeper internally, I have some wonderful uplifting music I listen to, some great Christian artists that I listen to, where I know that the messages that they're saying are the things that I want to have those messages going through my mind and on repeat during the day. And it used to be back in the day when I was growing up, there weren't a lot of great Christian options. Now there's fantastic music that is faith-filled and uplifting and has a good beat and is fun to listen to. And so Nick Day is probably my favorite, but I have several Christian artists that I just really, really love, and that gets me going in a positive spiritual and mental place. But there's nothing like putting on some good 80s music and just dancing away in my kitchen either.
Now, of course, this goes without saying. If you love 80s music, then we have to ask the question, who was your childhood, teenager, celebrity crush?
Oh, celebrity crush. I thought you were going to ask me about who my favorite music group was, and I can tell you that without hesitation, it's U2. So, but you didn't ask that question. Who is my celebrity crush? Probably it was Sean Astin from the Goonies, because he seemed so relatable, was always cute and fun. Maybe wasn't the biggest star or the best looking hunk out there, but I felt like I knew him, probably because I watched Goonies 100 times and he was the kid I could relate to and felt like I could have a crush on, or he could be my brother.
So you mentioned U2. What's your favorite U2 song? No, you can only choose one. Your
you
favorite.
can't make me choose one. There's a new U2 song that probably a lot of people don't know, that as far as the meaning, it is absolutely my favorite song, and it's called The Moment of Surrender. That's my favorite because of the meaning of it. I would say if I think back into history, what my favorites would be, the junior high school dance, I'm dancing to With or Without You, or to One, or to some of those iconic that you know what they are, Where the Streets Have No Name. The minute that the music starts and you can hear that electric guitar, that the whole room just gets excited for what's coming. So those will always be classics in my heart. But I have to say, I love The Moment of Surrender for the meaning and the personal depth of that song.
What about your favorite food when it comes to, like, it's Friday night, you're going to hang out with Tolan and just, you're going to eat something that you guys maybe both enjoy, or maybe even just you. What is that favorite food?
Okay, that's a great question. So I will say that has changed over time. When I got married, there were a lot of foods I didn't think that I liked. And I say I didn't think that I liked because the reality was I just hadn't been exposed to them very much. So I didn't think I liked Mexican food. I believed in my mind it to be very spicy and didn't think I liked that. I didn't think I liked much in the way of Italian food. I didn't think I liked very many different kinds of Asian foods. Well, the reality is we just didn't have those things growing up. We had 7 kids, my mom homemade dinners every night, and I ate what she fixed, which were very specific things on repeat. You know, we had 10 menu items that we had over and over again. So the reality is I have found I like a ton of different kinds of foods. And through my brain tumor journey, I lost my taste buds. That was part of the effects of the tumor. So with my nerves being paralyzed, I actually lost the ability to taste food. And so for 2 years, I could eat whatever I wanted and none of it tasted good. So now that my taste buds are back, I like everything. I just love flavor, and there is very little that I don't enjoy eating, with the exception of if it's too hot and spicy, then I feel like I can't taste it, if that makes any sense. So I don't like it too hot spicy, but probably my favorite food is Indian food. I love chicken tikka masala. It's probably my favorite meal. I also love Thai. I also love, kind of Asian infused cuisine. Love Mexican. Could eat Mexican tacos, street tacos, any day of the week. Love Italian. American's probably the most boring, but there's also nothing like a good hamburger and fries. So we would go to all sorts of places on a Friday night, but I always want something that's got a lot of flavor and usually some kind of ethnic food.
All right, last question for the Get to Know Jodi episode today. What about, is there a talent that you have that most people don't know you have?
Okay, people think of me as a word girl because I speak and because I write books. I'm actually pretty good with numbers too, and when I was young, I was a little bit of a math whiz, and so I would say, do you have a talent with numbers? Now that doesn't mean that I can remember all parts of calculus and things like that, because you also do what you practice, and I have long since stopped practicing some of those different things. But when it comes to figuring out and calculating numbers and, doing mortgage things or figuring out rates or percentages, I like math. I like the way that it makes sense once you understand it, and there are formulas, and that it kind of all wraps up in a nice, tidy package. And what I do for fun before I go to bed at night, you might think that this is crazy, but I play Sudoku, one of those number games. I play that and try to solve the little Sudoku puzzles, and I find it actually relaxes me. For some people it stresses them out, but it actually relaxes me, and then I'm not thinking about other things, and then I fall right to sleep when it's time to go to bed.
Well, that's definitely something that I did not know about you, and I'm sure lots of the audience didn't as well. So thank you for sharing that, and we'll make sure to include some more Get to Know Jodi episodes in the future. So stay tuned for the next one.